Yo, what's cracking? We back in action. I want to do a quick, you know what I'm saying, brief little live dealing with DNA because a lot of y'all be faking the funk on DNA. You understand? You know what I'm saying? You got some run his mouth and Kevin, whatever the hell your name is, you plain Jane, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, a lot of people run their mouth, and now we're looking forward to. And Gozy wanted to come out. I thought we were going to have a discussion tonight, but I guess that's not going to happen. So I said, okay, we're not going to have a discussion tonight dealing with DNA or DNA claims. Why not just touch on some basic things that I hear these people get wrong? Kevin got wrong. Run his mouth got wrong. You understand? And I'm not trying to convince anybody, but at least understand some of the basic things of DNA. You understand? Like one of the things that, when James was beating the hell out of run his mouth yesterday or the day before, whenever it was. You understand? I've worked 13 hours a day, so I lose track of time pretty easily. But at least understand basic stuff. And what was brought up during that conversation with run his mouth was about 3 to 5% gene flow from Africa, right, into all of the 8 known Jewish groups. And that seemed to be the common denominator. And for some reason, and this was said a few years ago by Dagaswad as well, 3% don't make anybody black, 3% don't make anybody African, which African, that's just a pseudonym anyway. Understand? One thing y'all need to understand about DNA, once you study DNA, you understand there is no such thing as African people. The way that Blumenbach understood it and taught, and it permeated America. You understand? There are no African people, because when you deal with African people, that's 5 haplogroups when you deal with the continent of Africa. That's A, B, J, R, and E. You understand? And now they're saying E arose outside of the continent of Africa because A and B is supposedly what? African haplogroups. Those SNPs formed in the continent of Africa. And then their children or offspring migrated outside of Africa into Eurasia. And BT formed C, and C formed D, and DE, formed DE. Then there was a parahaplogroup, and the haplogroup split into 2 different haplogroups, D and E migrated into Africa and brought forth agriculture into Africa as well. See, y'all think everybody in Africa is the same because you don't understand DNA. And there's a lot of you people that claim to understand DNA got the game twisted. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got it all the way twisted. If you really understood DNA, you will understand Africa is a multiplicity of people. And when you deal with the haplogroups, there's 5 separate haplogroups that make up the population of the continent of Africa. That's just one small thing. Now, when we deal with 3 to 5% of DNA and you saying, 3 to 5% is insignificant or it doesn't mean anything, you don't understand DNA at all. You don't understand what you're reading or what we're talking about. Small percentages of DNA reflect ancestry, deep ancestry. Why? Because if you knew anything about DNA, this is why I want to do this. Quick basics of DNA. DNA fragments over time. If you had recent admixture, the percentage would be higher. Like they say, the average African American may have 25 or 35%, as high as 35% European DNA in an autosomal. So that means in recent times, they had some admixture with these people. And they also date the DNA through the microsatellites, right? To see how far back the admixture was. So small percentages do not mean insignificant. Small percentages in your DNA means ancient or deep ancestry. You understand? Because DNA fragments over time. That's why on evolution, that's why nobody can say, well, DNA can prove evolution, because if you go far, 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 far back enough, DNA begins to fragment so much that you can't complete that story. So there is no evidence on evolution. Evolution is complete liberal garbage. And when I say evolution, I'm not talking about change over time. I'm talking about common ancestry, because that's really what people are saying when they try to hide behind that term evolution. Oh, do you believe in evolution? Yes, I believe in change over time. I believe that species speciate and we adapt, right? Like many males, the reason why we have the muscular structure and some of the advantages of being a male is because a lot of the mutations have been passed down generation after generation through our Y chromosome, and females don't get those beneficial mutations, if you will. You understand? And adaptations that we gained over years and years and years from being hunter-gatherers and pastoralists and so on and so forth, and warriors. They don't get that, so their bone structure is different than us. You understand? They're susceptible to scoliosis and other things when they can't have as much strenuous work on their skeletal frame as males can. Why? Because the Y chromosome is not passed down to the female in normal circumstances. It is normally passed down to the male. Now, I understand you have people that mutate and you have these rarities that happen where you can get an XXY. You understand? That does happen. Some females can carry a Y chromosome. That's a whole nother topic. So for anybody that's claiming to know DNA, claiming to be a scientist in the conscious community, claiming to be a person that's qualified to even speak on these things like Ngozi, they would have to be able to know the basics first. You understand? And what LaRun His Mouth did and Kevin G the other day, they displayed that they didn't understand the basics of DNA. They did not understand phylogeny, how to interpret a phylogenetic tree. This James clearly showed him that the cluster or the branches and the nodes connecting the Ashkenazis were more related to the European and Russian stock. If you could read the phylogenetic tree and interpret the data correctly, you would clearly see that that's what it's depicting. But when you see the Ethiopian and the Sub-Saharan, they're far removed from those Russian people, period, the European people, and those quote unquote Jewish groups. That was shown in what Kevin brought forth in that article. But since he doesn't know the basics of DNA, he's just blowing hot air. You understand? So, and then we had another brother. I love you, brother. I'm not gonna say your name. I ain't gonna throw you out there, but you said genetic material. The definition you have for genetic material, talking about is passing on phenotypic traits. That's not the definition of genetic material. You understand? Oh, gene flow, I mean. Gene flow is the transfer of genetic material, which includes genomes and DNA. Which the transfer of genetic material happens, for the most part, it's a lateral gene transfer, right? Or a vertical gene transfer. And that's all that's saying is that we inherit our genes from our mother and father, and they pass it down to their offspring, and their offspring pass it down to their offspring. That's why that article that James brought forth and showed LaRun His Mouth yesterday was so poignant, because it's showing you 3 to 5% gene flow from these sub-Saharan Africans into all of the known 8 Jewish groups being the common denominator, and was dating all the way back to the First Temple period. That means the sub-Saharan African DNA and the sub-Saharan African people, because they carry the DNA, and that in order for that genetic transfer to occur, they would have to give it. They would have to admix. right? Which we say are the originals because haplogroup E dominated the Levant from the Epipaleolithic all the way to the Chalcolithic period, which is just a fancy way of saying the Bronze Age, right? All right, let me let my brother James in, man. What's going on, brother?
I'm driving right now. I'll be to the house in about 2 minutes, and I'll come home for real.
Yeah. No sweat, man. I'm just going over the basics because LaRon, his mouth, right? And Kevin G, and I've also seen Ngozi say some of the craziest things while claiming to understand DNA. LaRon, during that ass whooping you gave him, claimed that 3 to 5% gene flow was insignificant. That means he doesn't understand DNA. Anytime you have small percentages of DNA, that represents deep ancestry. You understand? Smaller percentages mean deep ancestry, meaning long ago, right? Higher percentages mean the admixture took place more recently. This is why they say the Native Indians are of the East Asian stock, because they have small percentages of that East Asian DNA within their genome. So when they sequenced the genome and they parsed it out, it was okay, I can see the little Asian DNA that they have in them, and they interpret that with a parsimonious model saying, okay, these people derive from some East Asian stock. So when you look at the 8 various known Jewish groups in that study that was conducted in 2011, you will have to conclude that these the common denominator between these Jewish groups is a sub-Saharan African stock, right? And they kept bringing up the Mizrahi Jews. The Mizrahi Jews have it as well. So it just cuts the argument. You cannot truncate our people from the Levant. It's just not going to work. First of all, haplogroup E is a haplogroup, or SNP, right? Doing an ALU insertion. That's what divides all haplogroups, is an ALU insertion during the admixture or reproduction or recombination, as they call it. That's when the DNA from your mother and your father mix and create you and create the offspring. The insertion of a mutation creates the different haplogroup and haplotypes. We come from DE. DE came from CT, I believe. And CT and C came from B. Now C, it evolved outside of the continent of Africa. DE evolved, it arose outside of the continent of Africa. D arose outside the continent of Africa. So why, when we get to E, we get awestruck and say, okay, E has to be African? No, what they're doing, or what they have done in the past, is they superimpose modern population density into the past. So they say, okay, we see most of haplogroup E being represented in West or Sub-Saharan Africa. Therefore, it must have always been that way. But new DNA and new data, especially from the Ibero-Maurusians, has proven that we have always had that Levantine connection. We always had that Levantine connection, because that ties the Natufians and the Sub-Saharan Africans together, which ties Levant and Sub-Saharan African together. You can't get around that. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I wanted to just share the basics with y'all. DNA fragments over time. So if you have small percentages of DNA in your genome, that represents deep ancestry, meaning the admixture took place long ago. If you have a lot of percentage of foreign DNA or any DNA, that means the admixture happened much recently. Go ahead, James. I see you trying to get in.
Oh, nah, brother. I was just gonna say that, man. Anybody that was paying attention to that, you know what I'm saying, can clearly see what was illustrated. I mean, I read it straight out the article. I mean, LaRon sat there and tried to, I guess, base it on what he thought I was saying, and then try to make up something in his head and run with it. And I just kept taking him back to the article, reading it to him. He said he agreed with me already that the pre-exilic Israelites were admixed with sub-Saharan African. LaRon said he agreed with me when it very first began. Kevin said he agreed with me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even see why they had an issue with my argument from there, because I'm saying, okay, if they were in the pre-exilic Jews, and now we're looking at all of the diverse Jewish populations, not every single one of them, but a majority of them, 8 of them, all of them share this connection, which comes from sub-Saharan Africa. I also pulled up the article from the Jewish publication, read it to them. The whole article is about how Jewish story must flow through Africa, and saying that there's a common denominator between them all. It's telling you right there. But they sitting there arguing against the article. No, no, no. Well, it could be because of this. And look at what Kevin did. What Kevin did was the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody do in my life. He goes to Derek Lang. I use Derek Lang too, but I always use archaeology also along with it, and other historical references along with it to substantiate it, because he uses a lot of oral tradition in order to do it. And he postulates some things. And if I can't substantiate it outside his writings, I'm not going to run with it. But he's saying that when the Assyrians came in and conquered um Israel and Syria and those regions, and that the people then fled down into Africa after the Assyrian. Now the article says pre-exile, which means before that they were already mixed with sub-Saharan Africa. But he's giving me an article that's talking about an event that's post-exilic, after the exile, the Assyrian exile, where they flowing into Africa. Nowhere in his article, nowhere in history can we find substantial history of during that time period the reverse happening, people coming from West Africa and going into the Levant. We don't have any evidence of that, but he's using a story that's substantiating the exact reverse from the Levant to West Africa to try to argue that they went from West Africa to the Levant. And the story don't even say that. It says the complete opposite. But that was the best argument he put forth. Then he tries to grasp on the other article I bring, where they just coming up with stuff. They saying, oh, well, I guess it could have happened during the time when Solomon was there because he had connections to Africa, or it could have happened during the Greek period because of North Africa. They just throwing out ideas, and he trying to grasp on them ideas instead of looking at the hard empirical data, which says the common denominator between the diverse Jewish population is that sub-Saharan African ancestry. The crazy thing about it is you can check during the Chalcolithic period, which is the Bronze Age. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Bronze Age or Copper, one of them. But and you won't find, that's when you don't find E markers nowhere in that region. But all of a sudden during the Iron Age, when Israel emerges as a kingdom, we find E markers everywhere. All those other markers been in that region for thousands of years before that. Jay been in that region for thousands of years before that. What's some other markers they have in there? What is it? IX.
Yeah.
What's a couple of other Jewish? All the markers, quote unquote Jewish markers, been in that region for thousands of years before the Iron Age. And then when Israel emerges, all of a sudden sub-Saharan African ancestries everywhere. All over the Jews, all over the Israelites. Come on, man. I don't even see how you can try to get around what them articles say. Then he brought up his own article and tried to argue against the article he brought out by saying, nah, all these Jews don't cluster up here together. And I was just trying to get him to understand that the reason they're clustering up there together like that is because of that sub-Saharan African ancestry. And the reason Ethiopian Jews are outside of that is because they don't have it. And Yeshua, you remember, like I was saying yesterday or the other day, me and you had to talk about that because you was like, nah, you ain't gonna leave my Ethiopian brothers out. And I was like, well, brother, they don't seem to have this admixture that everybody else have. So maybe they just some converts. You know what I'm saying? But there's tons of information out there that would support everything we saying. Like I said, I went to Jewish publications, Harvard Medical School. What else can you ask from me? And they didn't even know nothing in depth about the article. LaRon only read the abstract. He talking about out of Africa theory. Come on, man. That's like one sentence in the whole article talking about that. And the rest of the article is about pretty much, oh, well, this right here happened during the 8th and 6th century BCE. Or the admixture with the in the Southern Europeans. They're like, okay, we know about that due to the Arab conquest of the region. So that's their explanation of that. When it comes to the what's the other one they have? They have the Southern European. Oh, and the other regions like in the Levant Arab, that right there is doing the trans-Saharan slave trade. So that they answer for that way. But ain't no way to answer for the BC period. Ain't no slave trade going on between, you know what I'm saying, the 8th and 6th century BCE. Do you know of a slave trade from Africa going on between that time period? Shoot.
Nah, I ain't heard of that, man. That'd be groundbreaking information. I ain't never heard nothing like that.
So I guess they saying that, I guess Solomon, Kevin G's trying to run to the Solomon explanation. I guess Solomon just went down there and just collected a bunch of black slaves, brought them back, and made everybody marry.
I guess so, man. But he got to explain why we see haplogroup E in the Natufians and the people before, the patriarchs, and we see haplogroup J being absent from this admixture. You understand? And this populace that existed prior in that land, and that's what we expect to see if we're looking for Shemites. You understand? Shem should be there and be the progenitor of the Israelites. You know?
We know Shem was DE, brother.
Exactly, because you can't say Elam or the ancient Persians are J. That won't fly. Because those ancient genetic markers were D. Those are haplogroup D. So if haplogroup D is Shemitic, then
would have to be.
Exactly. Exactly.
DE will once, or the father, well, DE is the father of D and E. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that's why I was telling Kevin, you don't understand what the hell you're talking about. This haplogroup J stuff is wild because haplogroup J descend from F. And the Chinese haplogroup O, which is primarily haplogroup O, they descend from F too. So are you saying the Chinese and the Jews are directly related? You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know what the hell y'all talking about when it comes to DNA, but y'all barking up the wrong tree. You feel me? And then everything you brought out was just poignant points that he couldn't get around. All he could do was become a rhetoric warrior on the show and keep trying to heckle you. When somebody try to constantly heckle you like that, you know you beating that ass. That's what that's a sign of, James. Like you was cutting them so deep with his own
you're right,
article.
because what I did, as soon as I started reading his own article, that's when he started heckling. Because I'm like, bro, I read ahead. When someone give me an article, I'm gonna read ahead. I'll look at the pertinent areas, especially when he started telling us about the chart. So I go look at the pertinent areas for the chart. I already read this part, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna read this whole thing to him, so it can clearly tell him that the Ethiopian Jews is an outlier, just like the chart clearly shows. You know what I'm saying? And the dude sitting there, he get the heckling, then he ran off because he already knew he was about to get body slammed when I got to the bottom of that paragraph.
Right. You brothers, like, y'all ain't ready for the scrutiny, man. Because really, their information can't stand up to scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? What you just brought up about the Chalcolithic, the SSA DNA, Sub-Saharan African DNA that we find, and it being the common denominator, and then especially what Damon brought out to put the cherry on top of the cake, the fact that they're more genetically related to Italians and Syrians than any goddamn thing. You know what I'm saying? They're not even related to other Jewish groups. So what the hell? You know, so these brothers they done for, man. They done. That's why I wanted to do this quick little basics on DNA to show y'all that they don't understand DNA. You showed them a phylogenetic chart with nodes and branches on it, and he did not know what the hell he was looking at. You
At
showed him,
all. That's why he started arguing.
You showed him the cluster of the Ashkenazi Jews and all these white Jewish groups and how they were closely related to Russians and Europeans. That's the top of the phylogenetic tree that was showed. And the bottom of the phylogenetic tree shows genetic distance on how far the Ethiopians and the other African Jews and the other, I believe the Mizrahi was down there as well. I may be wrong on that one. But they were much farther. They had a lot more genetic distance away from the Ashkenazis. You know what I'm saying? So that means they're not closely related. He didn't understand what the hell he was looking at. But that's cool. Leave the interpretation of data, of genetic data to the scholars over here at the source, James. You know what I'm saying? Because he put his foot up your ass. And I know
you know what, Yeshua, we might just need to go ahead and really iron out this model, lay it down on wax, so our view will be out there clear as hell on wax, and then maybe they can formulate better arguments instead of trying to argue on the fly and shit.
Well, here's the thing. They just going to look at it, come up with an ad hoc argument, throw it out there and act as if it's a refutation. Nigga, there ain't no refutation. You came up with that, had no thought behind it. You just trying to combat what we saying. And then when we scrutinize what you saying and break it down, we like, bro, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't understand phylogeny. You don't understand how DNA works. You understand? Because you think 3 to 5% is insignificant. No, that's not insignificant. It's very significant.
Yeah, they trying to act like the ancient Israelites only had 3 to 5%. I'm like, man.
Yeah, that's not what the study's saying. That shows that run his mouth don't know what the hell he talking about when it comes to DNA.
Yeah, because if they only had 3 to 5%, bro, that shit would have been gone by now. And ain't back then,
right?
From 8th to 6th century, it wouldn't be no trace of that.
Right, exactly. Seeing 3 to 5% is not saying that that's what the percentage was back then. Again, like that's why I keep repeating this on this show. That represents small percentage, represents deep ancestry and admixture that happened long ago. High percentages of like, for instance, I use African Americans here in America. We have as high as 35% European DNA, right? And most people are like 70 or 80% West or Sub-Saharan African. That shows, since that percentage is so high, that shows recent admixture. Small percentages show the admixture occurred long ago. So when we brought out that the admixture occurred 2,600 years ago during the First Temple period, during the Iron Age 2A period, a known Israelite period, that should let you know that we was present during the Kingdom of Israel in the Levant. That puts us right there. You know what that means, brothers and sisters? That means we all have a claim to being these people because our DNA was there. That's why they fight, they kick, and they scream against us because they know they can't get around empirical data. Y'all can play this Bible game all day. Read your Bible verse and you tell me what the hell you think it means. I do not give a damn. I can exemplify my points through empirical data, through genomic data, genomic insights, and show you the gene flow of haplogroup E and how we belong to that land, the Levant, right? And you got Vincent Cabrera even showing you that haplogroup E originated in that area. For all you, oh, we originated in Africa. Y'all don't have haplogroup A and B. Majority of you African Americans, you're not haplogroup A. You don't have haplotypes from A. You don't have haplotypes from B. You're not descendants of the Khoisan, right? Or the Sun tribe, right? You're not descendants of those people. You're not descendants of the Pygmy-Twa. Those would be the B and BT groups. You are not descendants of those people. You have haplogroup E. You have E markers. You understand? Our home is Eurasia. Our home is in Asia. And that's where the genetic and genomic data is pointing towards. And y'all hate that because you're so pro African. I'm African as African that. Newsflash, black man. Newsflash, black woman. Africa is not all the same genetically. It's 5 haplogroups: A, B, J, R, and E. And we brought agriculture to Africa. We brought civilization to Africa because agriculture is the root of civilization. So when anybody argue where did civilization begin first, it happened in the Fertile Crescent first, because that's where the Natufians in the Neolithic Revolution took place. You understand? So for any brother or any sister that's pushing this BS, it's nonsensical, and your information is outdated. We coming with the up-to-date information on DNA and the genomic data. Period. And that's why y'all not going to jump your ass in the ring. That's why you're not going to have a scholarly debate with us. You're going to keep having these rhetoric fights and these Bible fights. I am not interested. I'm disinterested in that, man. What can you prove? Let me let my brother back in here. All right, man. The floor is yours, James.
Oh, nah, man. I was just gonna say, I really think, man, we had a good little week going. You know what I'm saying? We got Vocab in there, bodied him real quick. You know what I'm saying? Then we turn around and get LeBron and Kevin G after they try to play Super Saver. You know what I'm saying? Even though he don't agree with Vocab on nothing Vocab was talking about that day, because he a dispensationalist. He don't believe in replacement theology, and that's pretty much all Vocab was coming back with. You know what I'm saying? But he's still gonna go over there and try to, ride for his master, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But we had a good week, man. We body rocked him, turned around, beat up on LeBron and Kevin G. And then I think I might just have to go ahead and just throw it together in the presentation, iron it out like that, put it on wax, and leave it be, man. Because going back with them ain't gonna get nowhere, because they don't even know what they be talking about. They just fishing for stuff. But who knows, man? Maybe they'll come back with a better argument, man. I'm open to argue with them again one more time.
Their argument is you're not white and you're not Vocab, so your opinion doesn't matter and what you say don't matter. That's their argument. You appeal to these nutcases on the internet that believe. This is what Vocab Malone said. This let me know that I'm dealing with nutcases. Vocab Malone said, he quoted Galatians, the 3rd chapter, verse 28, about if you be of faith, then you be Abraham's seed, right? So I'm like, bruh, are you saying that you can just magically change your core biology and become Abraham's seed just because you confess and believe in Jesus Christ? Because if so, use a nutcase, man. That ain't how DNA work and that how genetics work. You can't just magically transmutate yourself into a goddamn people. You understand? And I know people say, he ain't saying that. He's saying that, metaphoric. Nah, bro, that's exactly what you're saying. There ain't no metaphoric nothing. How the hell you going to just transmutate yourself into a haplogroup or another people? Exactly, D-Red. They don't know what the hell they talking about when it comes to DNA. They do not. You understand? They don't understand.
Yeah, they got a surface level knowledge of like the basics of looking at, but when it comes to these studies like that, they don't. And the reason is because they ain't take the time to just read the explanation. The explanation, the results, and the conclusions that they draw from the results. And a good part to also read from that article is the discussion, because they discussing different things. And that's what you typically read when you go into these articles. You don't have to know the technical jargon. You don't even have to read the technical areas. If you sit there and read the discussion, if you read the conclusion, and you read the results of the study, you can get a clear picture of what it's talking about. But these people don't even want to take the time to do that. LeBron just want to read the abstract and sit there and blabber off about the Out of Africa theory. Man, get out of here. Talking about all people got that African admixture signal.
That's a damn lie.
Duh, because the article tell you Northern Europeans don't got it. That's why they
Exactly.
use people from Utah, because Utah Mormons. Mormons didn't fuck with black people.
Oh, here go Boy Blue. Boy Blue, do you want to come in here and discuss that? Who are you calling Nubians? You understand? Who the hell are you calling Nubians? We can discuss that. Get in here and let's talk about it.
Man, he a scoffer. You know how they do. They ain't man enough to get on here.
Jane, D-Ray, hey, Door of L. I'm doing this impromptu, man. I don't have a full-scale presentation, but I will be sharing sources. You know what I'm saying? I just got off work. I just came on here. It was on my mind. It was on my spirit, so I let it go. D-Red said James was creating a model to explain why SSA, Sub-Saharan African DNA, was prevalent in all the Jewish groups at the same time, showing the Ashkenazi ain't a Jew. That's right. Because the genetic distance, which was in his article that he brought forth, Kevin brought forth the article that said that the Ashkenazis, when it comes to genetic distance, were far away from natural or a known Jewish group and more closer to Russian and Europeans. That's what his article said. And he's sitting up there acting like he had a point. Nigga, you killed yourself. You killed your damn self. Let me bring this article on continuity and admixture in the Levant because it's very important. Because if we're talking about Shem and the children of Shem, we got to study the Levant and the admixture and the genetic continuity of that area. So let me pull this up on my screen.
Where you gonna start at?
Hold on, let me get it. I'm gonna start at where it talks about the haplogroup J, where it says in addition to two Sidon males carried the Y chromosome haplogroups J and JM. So they used modern population density where the people live there today, and they pretty much was cross-referencing with ancient genomic data, right? So paleo genomic data on the article. Matter of fact, let me show you. Let me show you the article title: Continuity and Admixture in the Last 5 Millennia of Levantine History from Ancient Canaanite and Present-Day Lebanese Genome Sequences. And I want to just get straight to the point. Let me go down to it. Because you can't skip around the Natufians when we're dealing with this information. Here it is. All right. It says, I'm going to get straight to the point, man. We compile frequencies of Y chromosome haplogroups in its geographical area and their changes over time in a data set of ancient and modern Levantine populations. And note, similarly to Lazarus et al., that haplogroup J, now check this out, y'all. Haplogroup J was absent in all Natufian and Neolithic Levant male individuals examined thus far, but emerged during the Bronze Age in Lebanon and Jordan, along with ancestry related to Iran. So wait a minute, whoa. I thought Shem was always in the Levant, was always in the Fertile Crescent, right? So why is J, haplogroup J, representing the Johnny-come-latelys? You understand? Shem should always be there. His genetic signature should always be in that land because that's where he started and that's where he began to disperse and that's where he began to populate according to the biblical narrative. So if the Bible be true, we should find genomic data and genetic information to correlate that, correct? So while we see haplogroup J absent amongst these groups, these are the type of questions.
That's crazy, bro, because the Zagros Mountains, that's where the Akkadians come from. That came in and conquered Mesopotamia, which would be quote unquote, from a biblical standpoint, when Nimrod came to power. They came from the Zagros Mountains and conquered Mesopotamia. You know that because of their farming methods was based on the same farming methods they learned at the base of the Zagros Mountain. So if anything, that J marker seems more to be connected to the Akkadians than it does to the Sumerians, which Abraham's family would have founded Ur. You know,
Right. And the Fertile Crescent is known for what? Agriculture, right? And we see these individuals bringing that technology, bringing that knowledge into the region, and they not haplogroup J. The Natufians didn't carry haplogroup J, but I tell you what they did carry. They carried E.
mm-hmm.
They carried E. These will be the progenitors. These will be these Shemites that they don't want to talk about. That's why I said I'm gonna take you before Israel. Who's the father of Israel? Because if we're dealing with DNA, DNA is passed down from parent to offspring. So the parent should give the offspring the haplogroup, the same haplogroup, right? So let me stop sharing this, man. Let me see what the comments is like. Yeah, that's pretty much was a death blow, Yara, Elder Yara, man. Yeah, that was a death blow because you can't show that haplogroup amongst that group, amongst those people. And that article was written in 2017, man. Up-to-date scholarship. You feel me? I got another one for y'all, man. Let me get this, man. Let me get this next one. How they tie the sub-Saharan Africans with the Natufians through the Ibero-Maurusians.
Oh, I got that link. I'm about to drop it in the back.
Yeah, drop that. Let me drop that real quick. Let me get this one, man. Because this when this came out, this made a lot of people mad, man. Because years we've been subject to scientific racism and counted out, and we were isolated in sub-Saharan Africa, and but when they started doing the research, the empirical data was so overwhelming, it destroyed everything they were saying. Because guess what? We are the ones who brought agriculture into Africa. You know what I'm saying? We are the groups that did the gold trade in Africa, because the Muslims didn't believe in that. They didn't believe in dealing with gold. So guess the people that were dealing with gold was the Jews, was our ancestors in West Africa doing that trade. The cartographers, the people that draw on the maps, those were the Jews. So when you deal with the Atlas map, how are you going to draw a place that you've never been? These Jews were able to map out West Africa, the Sahara, the Sahel, and everything below it, because they were there. They had villages. They had people there. They understood the landmass. In order to write the map, you have to do so. But let me get this article for y'all, man. Showing you the brothers don't understand DNA at all. Don't understand the concepts. Don't understand the basics. But want to run your mouth and act like you do. And you know the sad thing about it, James? They doing it in defense of people like Vocab Malone and James White, so they can put these Ashkenazis on a pedestal and down black people for claiming any kind of Jewish lineage.
And you know that's what it's all about. That's it. Nothing else. They hate the fact that we who we say we are, man. They hate the fact that they were sitting there yelling we ain't got no evidence to support it. But now we coming with peer-reviewed articles that say the same stuff we've been saying for years. That's what they mad about, and they trying to fight that. They don't want the truth to come out because they know that when the truth come out, they gonna have to make some changes to the way they've been doing things. And that all that arguing they've been doing against us, they got to go back on all that, and that hurts a man's pride to have to go back on all that. That's what's holding them back.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share the screen. That's actual and factual, brother. That's what it is, man. Niggas don't want to renege on anything they say. They're gonna stand on it. Hey, even when you're wrong, say it strong, right? They gonna stand on that bullshit. All right, let me share the screen to the next article on the Ibero-Maurusians, because that's a direct, like, you can't even get around this, man. So the Pleistocene North African genome link near Eastern, and Sub-Saharan African human population. Now, this is sciencemag.org. It was published May the 4th, 2018. See, we up to date with ours. You're saying these cats they out of date, man. They antiquated with their information. That's why they come with incorrect information all the time and incorrect conclusions, because they're not up to date, man. They're not reading this stuff. All right, let me just read the abstract to you. It says North Africa is a key region for understanding human history, but the genetic history of its people is largely unknown. We present genomic data from 15,000-year-old modern humans attributed to the Ibero-Maurusian culture from Morocco. We find a genetic affinity with early Holocene Near Easterners, best represented by Levantine Natufians, suggesting a pre-agricultural connection between Africa and the Near East. We do not find evidence for gene flow from Paleolithic Europeans to late Pleistocene North Africans. The Taffara individuals derive 1/3 of their ancestry from sub-Saharan Africans, best approximated by a mixture of genetic components preserved in present-day West and East Africans. Thus, we provide direct evidence for genetic interactions between modern humans across Africa and Eurasia in the Pleistocene. So that's game over, because if these Ibero-Maurusians are showing an affinity between Natufians and sub-Saharan Africans, what is that showing you? Gene flow. That's what it's showing you. So you can't X out SSA from the Levant. And according to the secular data, this goes back 15,000 years ago. Well, nah, bro, we in a different era, bro. You can't isolate haplogroup E and SSA DNA to West Africa or below the Sahel no longer. You can't play them games no more. You understand? Because we can see the cultural diffusion, we can see the agriculture, we can see the Neolithic revolution. And they even saying haplogroup E carried agriculture into West Africa, because Africa was mainly a foraging, the Africans at that time were mainly a foraging people. They were hunter-gatherers. They did not have that technology to become pastoralists. We brought that technology into Africa. We did that. You understand? And if we want to read the Bible and we say civilization began in the Fertile Crescent, then you got to tie these together. You understand? You got to tie these together. Who are these people creating agriculture? Are they the Shemites? Because if they the Shemites, then they seed will become the Israelites, which will mean we will expect to see Israelites carrying some kind of E haplogroup, man. And that's my take on it. Anything you want to add to that? Oh man, I thought my brother James dropped out. Add him back. Hey, anything you want to add on that Ibero-Maurusian thing about them having?
Nah, man. I mean, I think that right there just shows that at the root of spreading the agriculture throughout the Near East, North Africa, and to Western Europe, at the root of that is clearly sub-Saharan African ancestry. I mean, if you remember an article we read back in the day, I'm gonna see if I can find it, where it talks about how it was a missing link or something to the spread of agriculture that they couldn't figure out what it is. And now they're starting to see it. It's either Basal Eurasian, but they say, you know, Basal Eurasian or West African. You know what I'm saying? Which telling you pretty much is the same thing, because the Basal Eurasian DNA, just like our DNA does, it fights off the Neanderthal admixture in it or dilutes it down, just like ours does. And we're like the only people in the world that does that. So it's showing another affinity, clear affinity between us and them. And most of the scholars even agree that they don't really know how to draw a line between Africans and Basal Eurasians, except to say that all other groups come out of this Basal Eurasian group and not necessarily other African groups. But we know that through our female's mitochondrial DNA is what birthed M and N, and those other ones that they say that come out of that. We know that, again, like we said, DE were once one, and then D separated, went its way, and then E went down into Africa. I mean, the evidence, I'm sorry, it's just overwhelming. It's just like you said, people haven't got updated on the information. They're not taking the time out to go beyond what they probably heard people say they read from the quote unquote master teachers and stuff like that. Because I don't know what LaRon do other than whatever dispensationalists tell him to say, he run with it. Because I don't know what he really be thinking. He jumped from here to there. At first it was no connection to us whatsoever. Now he admitted the connection, but he don't want to admit that it's at the core and at the root, when it's the only thing that makes sense is what the other people saying. But I think we can go ahead and move forward and see what other regions, you know what I'm saying, we can see them being in, or maybe focus more on the spread of the agriculture part of it or something like that. Because I mean, the article's clear that a third of the DNA in the Natufians is sub-Saharan African DNA. It ain't nothing nobody can say about that. You know what I'm saying? There's no way they can argue that. It's been a long-standing connection between the Middle East and West Africa going back into deep antiquity. It's not until modern times that Europeans have come along and convinced you to believe that the people that they call quote-unquote African have always been in Africa, never was smart enough to come out of Africa, never did anything, and never contributed anything to civilization. They want you to believe that. But when we come and show you the evidence, you gonna fight against that? Like Jashub said, man, we've been having scientific racism pointed our way. That those old books are infused with it. It was just a part of their methodology. Some people didn't even know they was doing it when they was doing it, because it was so rooted in the school of thought. And a lot of that stuff is being rooted out in the last 10 years. So people need to start looking at this scholarship from in the last 10 years and update their scholarship and see that a lot of stuff we've been saying is in fact true. And what's crazy is if you put what we're saying together with biblical prophecy, it makes so much sense. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't see how they say they support the Bible and they're against that. Because last I checked, the Israelites supposed to be direct descendants of Adam, the first man. Nobody's blood is more of a direct descendant than ours. We the original man. The original blood flows through our veins, not nobody else. So if these people is who they say they are, then they should be us. The root should be us.
Right.
That's just basic common sense, but they don't believe that because I guess they just sold into the Ashkenazi being the root of all Judaism and whatever they say being true.
Pretty much it's dogmatic at this point. It's all dogma, no evidence. You know what I'm saying? All dogma and no evidence. Let me just show one more source on this, and we're gonna move forward. One more thing, man, because it's just like this shit is just too damn. It's just too clear at this point. You know what I'm saying? Y'all still would drink the muddy water. Y'all still believe that these Ashkenazi fakes have anything to do with our ancestors. It's just crazy. All right, so this article here is Genomic Insights. Let me see. Genomic Insights into the Origin of Farming in the Ancient Near East. And it was published PMC February 25th, 2017. Let me get to the meat and potatoes of this. Where are we at? Because it's important to understand these Natufians, and like you brought up basal Eurasians, right? Who these basal Eurasians were. Okay, here we go. A population without Neanderthal admixture, basal to other Eurasians, may have plausibly lived in Africa. Craniometric analysis have suggested an affinity between the Natufians and the population of North or Sub-Saharan Africa, a result that finds some support from Y chromosome analysis, which shows that the Natufians in successor Levantine Neolithic populations carried haplogroup E. Now remember, J is absent. We read earlier, J is absent amongst the Natufians. Haplogroup E was carried by the Natufians. In the Ibero-Maurusians that came later after this is 2016 or 2017, and that study came 2018, pretty much tied the bow on the present, man. It pretty much sealed the deal, man. Look, of likely ultimate African origin, which has not been detected in other ancient males from West Eurasia. So you can't compare this to any other males in Western Eurasia, the Syrians, but you can compare the Ashkenazis to those people because they're closely related to those people. You understand? But when you're dealing with this Natufian stock that brought forth the Neolithic Revolution, that made it the Fertile Crescent, right? That brought that technology to that area and then brought it into Africa through haplogroup E, right? We can clearly see what haplogroup E, what haplogroup is supported by the evidence. It's haplogroup E. It's not J. So they're going to have to drop that argument, bro. They're going to have to drop that argument. And again, I got to add this again. This is why they heckle. This is why they don't want the information to be read. This is why. Because if we able to read this information and discern this information, they through. Them niggas is done. We showing you where haplogroup E was at. We showing you the connection with the Natufians. We showing you the migration. We showing you that. You understand? So all you brothers can do at the end of the day is heckle. All you can do is lie and give your damn dogma. This ain't the Christian church, man. We not here to just read a verse and give us interpretation. We're going to give you genetic data, genomic insights, man. All right. So, she said they also claim West Asian heritage from their mother side when 100% of their father side is European. No, their mother side is European. Their father side is closer to those damn Syrians. You understand? We read that article last time we was on here. Stacy Stevens says, them people, whatever color, have a whole history over there, and you trying to be part of it. Hey, Stacy Stevens, how about you bring yourself on it? Matter of fact, I'm done playing with y'all. We read, what, 3 or 4 articles? I believe it was 3 or 4 articles, man. Let me just drop the link in the chat and see what brave soul will get on here and try to defend that jargon. And then look, Stacy Stevens says, take that fake ass DNA to court and see what the judge say. Now DNA fake. Now that we can use DNA to articulate ourselves and give a strong argument for us being from Shem, from us having this affinity to these people, now DNA fake. Well, here we go, Stacy Stevens. The link is in the chat. Bring yourself on and defend these claims you're making in the chat. Because we're going to prove today that you don't know anything about what we're talking about. That's why you're dismissing DNA. You understand? You remember that kid that said math is stupid? He was in the classroom. Math is stupid. You want to know why he kept saying math is stupid? Balling up his paper, throwing it, and acting a goddamn fool in math class? Because he did not understand the subject matter. He did not understand math. That's what you're doing with DNA. DNA fake. DNA is stupid. You that little snot-nosed kid that wasn't comprehending, man. That's what you know.
Ain't nobody about to jump on here, man.
Yeah. Stacy Stevens, I hear you. Jump your ass on the call. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a paper tiger, brother. Get your ass on here and defend these claims. What's going on, D-Red? What's cracking, D-Red? Bro, what was this? But her ratchet ass took her baby daddy to the judge to get that paternity test for child support. Exactly. DNA real DNA, ain't it? When it come time to get that child support check, DNA be real as hell. Listen, if you saying DNA fake, you saying your blood is fake. You saying you who you are is fake, because DNA is the building blocks to all organisms on the planet. How is DNA fake when DNA is the building blocks for all organisms on the planet? You sound crazy, man. Now look, he said you don't understand that the judge will laugh you out of the court. Do you understand there has been judgments made based on DNA? What the hell wrong with you? People have
been locked up for life, got the death penalty based on DNA.
Right.
Get out of here.
You conspiracy nuts is crazy, man. Niggas ain't got exonerated because of DNA. You know what I'm saying? Thank God for DNA and the understanding of it.
For real, because niggas can't get locked up just because a white man said you did something no more, thanks to DNA.
Look, Tribal Judah said, LOL, 1 second is you have no Middle Eastern DNA. The next is DNA is fake. Hey, you know why they doing that? Because we got so much evidence on our claims dealing with DNA that now they got to disclaim. They got to pretty much refute it or ignore it.
That's what they got to do. They got to tell you not to believe your lying eyes. Okay.
Now, hold on. Stacey Stevenson, here you go again. He said that's not even the same DNA, clown. Ancestral DNA is not. This is a fake. This is a fake account. This is a fake account. You ain't a real. Listen, this is your burner account, ain't it? This is your troll account. You can't be serious. He said that's not even the same DNA, clown. Ancestral DNA is not paternal DNA. Negro, paternal DNA. Once you trace the paternal line, that's ancestral DNA, right? You don't know what the hell you're saying right now. If I trace my paternal line, I trace paternal DNA, I'm checking my ancestry. You dunce. What the hell wrong with people, man? Okay, here you go again. You know damn well that direct DNA and that shit you talking is broad. What's broad about what I said? Brother, hey, James, this brother said checking your paternal DNA is not ancestry.
See, this is why, you know, I say some people ain't even worth dialogue. Should just be stupid. Like, what else is it then?
Right.
Shit, that's what I want to know. Shit. You tell me what the type it in there, bro. What is it?
So me checking my Y chromosome and showing my paternal line and showing who my grandfather was and who his father was and so on and so forth ain't ancestry.
Hey, tell him to take that bullshit to court. You know yeah. Judge say 99.8% of your ass turn around and be like, it wasn't me. You know what I'm saying?
Where's this brother getting this stuff from?
She gonna slap your ass with child support so quick.
So broad DNA is not DNA. What an imbecile. I know this person. Well, who is this guy? Get your ass on here, man. Hey, what's this? What's this you put in the back? Science Mag.
Oh, that was just about the Natufians too. Same thing.
You want me to read it? Yeah, I agree. I concur. Jay Keys says Stacy is a keyboard coward. Please continue on with your lesson. Nah, you right, man. A lot of y'all people on here that be trolling, y'all just be on the keyboard, clickety clacking away. But none of y'all will get behind. Matter of fact, forget getting on the show. When you niggas gonna get in the ring and debate these topics, man?
They wouldn't even be able to handle a preliminary. They crumble.
Right. And that what you're saying right now is like so off kilter. Like, what the hell wrong with you, man? Paternal DNA and ancestry DNA. What the hell? Look, Stacey, get on the link is in the chat, brother. Just get on here, man. We just want to talk, bro. We ain't gonna hurt you. What the hell wrong with this brother, man? Hey, Stacey, if you don't mind me asking, what are you? Are you an Israelite, Moor, agnostic, atheist, or are you a troll account? What are you, man? I think you a troll account. You might be one of them cats from the kitty cat den trying to infiltrate and watch our channel. Hey, you know that's crazy, James. You know what they say? They come over here. Ain't nobody watching y'all, even though the channel has been doing great. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody watching y'all. In the comment of our video. Wait a minute, nigga, you watching us. This nigga watching every damn video.
Commenting all through the video. Every second. You gotta comment.
Apparently what we saying must be the shit because you gravitated towards it.
Hey man, let's put this one right here up. Let's go. I don't know if you put this one up. Cause I know this one right here hurt their feelings. I just put it in the private chat.
Yeah, let me get that. Let me get that. All right, what part you want on this?
Shit, the abstract. This abstract give you the whole thing.
All right, let me get that on the stream for the people, man. This is an article that was put on BMC Evolutionary Biology, DOI.org. Oh, it's Vincent Cabrera.
Yeah, me and you have talked about this one before. It's about the Eurasian origin of our peoples, man.
Right.
Or the Western Asian origin of our people.
All you people that was pushing for the Horn of Africa, man, you might want to click off the video.
Yeah, y'all ain't gonna like that.
Y'all ain't gonna like this.
Let me read the abstract. All right, it say on the background, it say the main unequivocal conclusion after 3 decades of phylogeographic mitochondrial DNA studies is the African origin of all extant humans. In addition, a southern coastal route has been argued for to explain the Eurasian colonization of these African pioneers. Based on the age of macrohaplogroup L3, for which all mitochondrial Eurasian and the majority of African lineages originate, the out of Africa event has been dated to 60 to 7,000 years ago. On the opposite side, we have proposed a northern route through Central Asia across the Levant for the expansion and consistent with the fossil record. We have dated it to around 125,000 years ago to help bridge differences between the molecular and the fossil record ages. In this article, we assess the possibility that mitochondrial DNA macrohaplogroup L3 matured in Eurasia, which means if you believe in evolution, that we went from Homo sapien, as they hypothesized we came out of Africa as Homo sapien, into Eurasia, and we matured into the modern Homo sapiens we are today in that region. My stance is that is what Adam was. Adam is what we are today. He wasn't no monkey crawling around in Africa nowhere. He was a human being. And the origin of that is in Eurasia. Hold on, let me get the some more of it.
Yeah, man, powerful information that these brothers don't even know exists.
Exactly. All right, let's get to read the results. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get to the conclusion. These results are congruent with a model proposing an out of Africa migration into Asia following a northern route of early anatomically modern humans carrying pre-L3 mitochondrial lineages. Early anatomically modern humans are Homo sapiens. Around 125 BCE. 125,000 years ago, which would make it like a Homo sapien L2, something like that, during that time period. Subsequent diversification of pre-L3 into basal lineages 3, a return to Africa of Eurasian fully modern humans. All right, a return to Africa of Asian fully modern humans around 70,000 years ago, carrying the basal 3 lineages, and the subsequent diversification of Eurasian remaining L3 lineages into M and N lineages in the outside of Africa context and a second Eurasian global expansion by 60,000 years ago, most probably out of Southeast Asia. Climatic conditions and the presence of Neanderthals and other hominids might have played significant roles in these human movements. Moreover, recent studies based on ancient DNA and whole genome sequences are also compatible with this hypothesis. So this hypothesis is saying the fully modern human, its origin is in Eurasia. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we've been arguing this whole time. We fully modern humans. We are the origin of all races. L3 macro haplogroup is our women. You know what I'm saying? Our women's ancestral line. And that right there all took place in Eurasia. And they can't get around that. That's why we say the House of Shem is there. DE was there because DE is the paternal haplogroup that goes with L3.
It's a fact. That's a whole fact. And all you Bible thumpers out there that believe that the Indians and these other Southeast Asians were Elam and of the sort from Shem, then you have to acquiesce to the fact that the Shemites were carrying D, E, and E haplogroups. There's no way around it.
Facts, bro.
There's no way around it. If those people are Shem and their relatives are Shem, then that would mean DE will be Shem and E will be Shem as well. You can't get around it.
And they don't have no problem with D being Shem. They just have a problem with E.
Right. Which our brother
let me read the results because I think it's going to hammer it home. I'm going to start in the second sentence of the results. The oldest M and N Eurasian clades are found in Southeast Asia instead of near of Africa as expected by the Southern Route hypothesis. The split of Y chromosome composite DE haplogroup is very similar to the age of mitochondrial DNA L3, like I just said. A Eurasian origin and back migration to Africa has been proposed for the African Y chromosome haplogroup E. Inside, so that's saying DE was outside of Africa. Then guess what? When D and E split, E went back into Africa.
Facts.
That's what it's saying. And people can't get around that, bro. And they don't like that, man. Because my motto say the last glacial maximum is congruent with the flood event. All this stuff spreads out directly after that. The migration patterns after that fits directly on top of where the Bible say all these peoples went. And when you lay out the haplogroups on top of that, you see D and E dominating the land of Shem.
Yes.
Dominating. No way around it. Whether you think them are Potamus ancestors or not, the Bible is giving an accurate account of human migration after the global climatic event involving water we call the last glacial maximum. And you can't get around that. That's why I say, man, we got to go ahead, sit down one day, put that model on wax so people can see the migration pattern and the spread of them haplogroups and really get a picture of what we be talking about.
Yeah, man. I want you to really piss off the pro-African people because read that inside Africa part because this is, you know how people be bringing up the Hamitic hypothesis and how that replaced the original people and said no technology came there until another people came. But read that, man. Read that real quick.
All right, no problem. The same part is in the abstract and results. Inside Africa, frequency distributions of mitochondrial L3 and paternal E lineages are positively correlated. This correlation is not fully explained by geographic or ethnic affinities. This correlation rather seems to be the result of a joint and global replacement of the old autonomous male and female African lineages by new Eurasian incomers. So
ain't that what we've been saying?
Is a new Eurasian incomer. And you know who was originally there? A and B.
A and B. A and B.
That's who was originally there. A and B. Not your E having ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your ancestor was in Eurasia, kicking it.
Right. We came there with new technology known as agriculture and outperformed them people and outcompeted with them and pushed them out, man.
Pushed them south. Now they in South Africa as the Khoisan.
Yo, man. Hey, this information right here is like really the knockout punch. That's really the knockout punch. Let me check the comment and see what is anybody learning something out there? Are they hearing what we hearing? Is they getting the information? What's going on? I had 16 comments since then. Hey, Peace Royal Prince, he said great information. Yeah, that article was a knockout, man. That article was prolific. We really get end the show on that. Where all the naysayers at, man? Oh man, here we go. Another. What is wrong with y'all, bro? There's plenty of articles, scientists saying DNA is a guess and it can't tell ethnicity. So how? It's like what? Just jump on.
All right. Let me say something to that. When they're talking about that, that's if you're trying to trace back yourself to a certain tribe, right? In West Africa, you know how people get them DNA kits to trace them back to tribes. And the reason that is because you can't trace yourself back to a specific tribe. You're going to trace yourself back to a genetic cluster of tribes. And that can be like, for instance, some people like the Yoruba, the Igbo, and I can't think of the name of it, but they in Ghana. All of their DNA is like 98% the same. So you might go back to that cluster and they tell you this time is Yoruba. Next time they'll tell you it's Igbo, and next time they'll tell you it's the other group. You see what I'm saying? So that right there is where they're saying is a guess, but not when they're saying E goes back to DE. That's not a guess. That's based on the scientific methodology they use.
Right, which is genetic barcoding. They can line up and see genetic differences. That's how they tell who's most similar and who's dissimilar. By lining up the genetic code and genomic data and looking for those differences, which are SNPs and strong tandem repeat. They'll say, okay, these SNPs and mutations line up. So they are from the same Y chromosome. So then they'll be assigned that haplogroup, our paternal haplogroup, right? I mean, it's pretty simple. But for him to say that just, it's like you said, they can't say that your ancestors were the Vikings. There is no DNA test that can tell you your ancestors were Vikings, but they can still tell you your ancestors were related to what haplogroup or what have you, or what ethnic group or what have you. They can still do that. The technology's there. So, bro, get out your goddamn. I don't know what you in, man. Like y'all brothers are in, and y'all are. What's that? Appeal to stupidity, bro. Appeal to stupidity. That's what you brothers do. Stacy still yapping in the back chat, but I'm waiting on him to jump his ass on here. He still haven't. Dora the L asks you, what is the date of the glacial maximum? If you're there, James.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of choppy a little bit.
Yeah, my phone dying out is between. They say between about 30 and 25,000 BCE. You know what I'm saying? On the secular timeline.
Yeah. So, hey, brother, you got your answer. He said 30 to, I think, 20,000 BCE is what he said. My brother chopping up a little bit. What's his other brother said? He said, now because they was black, we was related. He said more pseudo. That's not, no one never said because they were black. We said because they had haplogroup E. That's what makes us related. You understand? The genomic and genetic data makes us related. I mean, you just hear me say they line up and do genetic barcoding, and they test genetic differences to see who's more similar and who's dissimilar. That's how they came up with the phylogeny behind it. Yeah, 30 to 25,000 years ago in the last glacial maximum. My bad, I misspoke on that. Yeah, it has nothing to do with, see, what's going on in the conscious community, they think phenotype means relation. No, phenotype does not mean relation. I was telling Aboriginal power, and that's why I named this Basics of DNA, because we need to discuss things like this. I was telling Aboriginal power, you understand the Malaysians don't have the same DNA as sub-Saharan Africans. They don't. The Malaysians don't. The Andaman Negritos, we related to the Andaman Negritos, but they look sub-Saharan African or have Africoid features, if you will, quote unquote. But their DNA, I believe they're haplogroup D. I think it's DM174 or something like that. I was reading it earlier. They don't have the same DNA as us. The Negritos don't have the same DNA as us. To prove my point even more, many of the haplogroup D carriers don't look the same. The Ainu of Japan have haplogroup D. They are of haplogroup D, but they don't look like the dark-skinned Melanesians or Andaman Islanders or Dark East Indians or whatever that carry haplogroup D as well, or Southeast Asians as well. They don't look like those people, but they are related genetically. So that proves you cannot just use phenotype alone to determine who you are related to. You understand? That's what y'all gotta understand, man. I'm gonna show you, man. Like, we bought books around here, and I do quite a bit of reading on this. I'm gonna share my screen and share with you a book called Language and Genes in Northwestern China and Adjacent Regions, and just read from it, right? Because we got to get out of it. Basics of DNA. Maybe I should make this a series. Stacy, how you know how Andaman Islanders look? I'm talking about present day Andaman Islanders. They may look similar to sub-Saharan Africans, but they carry a different genotype, and they're from a different macro haplogroup, which is D. They are not from E. The Europeans say that the flood happened 2600 BCE. That timeline is so flawed that Europeans trying to tell us all biblical events. I mean, we can argue the exactness of the dates. I really don't get into the date debate, because if someone tells me things are older, I'll always tell you that there's a limit to genetic molecular clocks, and anything after 12,000 years is pretty much not accurate. Not accurate. Technology not there yet. And I got sources on that. So, you know what I'm saying? This is the source, by the way. We actually cite sources here. We don't just go off rhetoric or whatnot. Let me show y'all this real quick, though. To counter this phenotype claim. Y'all think everybody is black, is the same, and everybody on the continent of Africa is the same. That is a fairy tale. And that's right. Well, you got to say this. Some Israelites don't teach that. Some Israelites just say all Negroes are the same, and not just Israelites. Conscious community members say the same thing, you know what I'm saying, that are not affiliated with Israelites. You got the Abels kind of saying the same thing. And it's because we don't understand DNA. We don't understand genomic and how to interpret genomic data. So we think phenotype means everything. Lyndon B. Johnson was E1B1. E1B1B. What's the famous Jewish guy? It's on the tip of my tongue. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The genius. He was E1B1B. And Lyndon B. Johnson don't look like your average. I mean, he looked like a Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? So just because you have a particular phenotype doesn't mean you are related to. It doesn't determine how you are related to anyone on the planet Earth. Phenotype alone can't tell you that. Einstein, thank you, brother. Einstein is E1B1B. You understand? Read this one. The general teaching in the community isn't if you look the same, you are the same. You do have offshoots that do that. They're the exception, not the rule. And that's true. So actually, Israelites groups were on point with that. You can be related to people that don't look like you, that don't share the same phenotype with you. That is on point when it comes to understanding DNA and how similar we are genetically instead of just looking at the surface. You should have Ronald Dalton on and Benaiah Israel. I don't know who those two brothers are, but maybe they're Maybe they're DNA savants. I don't know. I don't know those brothers. I don't know those brothers, man. But let me share my screen. Got my brother D Red in the building. What's happening, bro? What's cracking? Share my screen and get this information out here so we can stop repeating these same erroneous errors that our people are, regurgitating. Oh, all Negroes are the same. That's not true. So I'm going to start here. This is Language and Genes in the Northwestern China and adjacent regions, 22 and 23. I think this book cost me $1 or close to $1. Book was expensive. But anyway, when I say buck, I'm talking about $100. Not now. The age of haplogroup O in East Asia is no more than 30,000 years when estimated from sufficient numbers of STR markers. Therefore, haplogroup O was not the earliest Y chromosome carried by the modern human into East Asia. Haplogroup C M130 may represent one of the earliest settlements in East Asia. Haplogroup C was at a high to moderate frequency in Far East and Oceania and lower frequency in Europe and in the Americas, but is absent in Africa. Several geographical specific subclades haplogroup C have identified. I'm going to get to the point. Haplogroup C is absolutely restricted to Japanese and Ryukyns, appear at low frequency about 5%. Haplogroup C2M38 is found among certain local populations on Pacific Islands, Eastern Indonesia, and Polynesia. C2 has become a mono haplogroup due to severe founder effects and genetic drift. Let me get to the point. The arrival of C in South Asia and Australia must be much earlier than at the time around 60,000 years ago. Haplogroup C must have settled in East Asia. The haplogroup, all right, right here, this is what I want. The migration history of haplogroup DM174 is most mysterious by the time. We have known little about the origin and dispersal of this haplogroup. This haplogroup was derived from African haplogroup DEM1. Remember, we're talking about that in YAP insertion. YAP is the father, the father branch, and then whatever it produces is the daughter. And it's associated with a short black Asian physical style. Haplogroup E and D are brother haplogroups, while haplogroup E, that's why I was telling y'all earlier, if you're going to say Elam represents the early Persian and these early East Indians that were in that region, you can't count out haplogroup D. And if you're saying Elam is of Shem and they carry these genetic markers, then DE would automatically become Shem. And E would have to be Shem because haplogroup E and D are brother haplogroups. You understand? While haplogroup E was carried westward to Africa by tall black people, haplogroup D might have carried eastward to East Asia by short black people. Let's keep reading. Haplogroup DM174 has high frequencies in the Andaman Negritos. Now, Andaman Negritos may look like sub-Saharan Africans, but they carry haplogroup DM174, and it's high frequency, so a lot of them carry that. So my point is, just because they look similar doesn't mean they are genetically similar. Yes, we are related to them, but I'm going to keep giving you examples. The northern Tibeto-Burman populations and the Ainu of Japan, and also appears at low frequency in East and Southeast Asia and Central Asian populations. So the Tibeto-Burman populations are also haplogroup D, or haplotype DM174 rather. And the Ainu people of Japan are haplogroup DM174, right? These populations all carry the same genomic data, but they don't look the same. And here's the point right here. Most of the populations with haplogroup D have very dark skin color, including the Andamanese, some of the Tibeto-Burman and Mon Khmer people. The Ainu people may have changed to pale skin to absorb more ultralight in the high latitude region. For the origin of haplogroup D, suggested that CTM168 gave rise to the YAP insertion. All right, so let's go. And it even says in this book, haplogroup E with YAP insertion might also have an Asian origin. So even this book is telling you that haplogroup E didn't arise in Africa. But the point I want to bring out of this is the Ainu of Japan, the Tibeto Burman, and the Andaman Negritos. Do they all look the same? So we're just gonna do a quick Google search, Google image search on this, and hopefully, again, this is the basics of DNA. I want to show you that phenotype does not automatically mean you are related to somebody. Just because you have a similar physical expression or physical appearance doesn't automatically make you related. So let's go to Google, and we're going to type in Andaman Negritos. Remember, they have DM174, so they're all genetically related. They're genetically the same. Andaman Negritos. Let me get that. Let me pull it up. These are the Andaman Negritos. Now, if you didn't know any better, oh, those sub-Saharan Africans. No, those Andaman Islanders in their haplogroup DM174. Now, y'all can all see how these people look. Matter of fact, let me blow this. Let me make sure the stream's blown up. Let me make sure the stream's blown up. There we go. So you guys can clearly see this. So hopefully y'all get educated on this and y'all stop running with the lie just because you look the same or all Negroes are genetically the same. That's not true at all. So you can see the Andaman Negritos, the Andaman Islanders. They look sub-Saharan African, but again, they're not haplogroup E, A, B, J, R. They're D. Now let's get Ainu. The Ainu people of Japan, they got the same haplogroup. These are Ainu people. Look at this. They don't look anything like the Andaman Islanders, even though they have the same genetics as the Andaman Islanders. Look at these people. Pale skin, stringy hair. That's why I like using this example, because you can have people with the same haplogroup have this much genetic diversity and expression. Because remember, phenotype is how the genotype expresses physically, right? So the same genetic information was able to produce these people, the Ainu people. These Ainu people. Look at this person. Look at this. Diametrically opposed to what we saw with the Andaman Islanders. So can we stop saying phenotype makes you who you are? That's unscientific and is not backed up with genomic and DNA. It's not. It's not at all. These are Andaman, not Andaman Islanders, excuse me, Ainu people. Now let's get to Tibet. Let's see if we can pull up the Tibeto Burman people, and then I'm going to go back to the chat, see if any trolls are there, anybody's learning anything. Same haplogroup, different hair types. You know, one had more of a weirdly tightly coarse hair. The other one had like stringy hair, right? Different skin color. So you can have the same haplogroup and different expression. That's why I brought up Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson was E1B1B. You even have E1B1A individuals that look white. All right, Tibeto Burman people. Look at the people. I don't want the location. You need the people. Look at these people. Look at these people, man. Look how they look. Look at their phenotypic. Examine the phenotypic range of these people. These are haplogroup D. Haplogroup D, man. Do they look like the Andaman Islanders? No, they do not. But the blood that's coursing in them carries the DNA, and the DNA is saying they are the same. Hold on, we got somebody in here. Let me see what's cracking. Let me see did we get a brave soul in here? Oh, we got my brother James back. What's cracking, James?
Nah, not much, man. I was just coming back in, man. My phone had died. I wanted to let it sit in charge for a minute.
Yeah. I was just showing the people that you can't just say phenotype is what makes us related, because I proved through haplogroup DM174, 3 different groups have the same genetic makeup, the same core biology, but look completely different. It's called genetic diversity, man. You understand? phenotypic range.
Yeah, genotype don't mean phenotype.
Exactly. So I showed the Ainu people of Japan, I showed the Andaman Negritos, and I showed the Tibeto-Burman people, and all three groups look completely different. The Ainu were more pale, stringy hair. They look like some of the Japanese locals. You understand? And then the Tibeto-Burman people, they look more like Southeast Asians. They wasn't as pale, but they wasn't dark either. They wasn't like Sub-Saharan African dark or anything like that. And then we showed the Andaman, they look like Sub-Saharan Africans. So phenotypic expression is not limited to one group of people. Phenotypic expression, all you got to have is genetic diversity. The only people that you don't see with that much genetic diversity is the Europeans, because they so inbred. They're so inbred that they're not able to have that genetic expressivity anymore, variable expressivity anymore. Because they pretty much had too many deleterious or bad mutations and deleted most of that information away from them. You understand? That's why I say white skin being introduced into the world was actually just a deleterious mutation. Had nothing to do with consuming milk. That's just a theory. It had nothing to do with being in the cold northern areas of Europe, because Cheddar Man's people was there and they were black for years, for thousands of years. You see what I'm saying? Which also proves that phenotype don't equal who you are or relation, because people with haplogroup I today are genetically related to Cheddar Man and his people. You know what I'm saying? And they don't look like Cheddar Man and his people. They're not dark skinned. So, I mean, that's just something to keep in mind. I just wanted the people stop running with that. And Israelites been correct on that for a while. You know what I'm saying? Now you got some Israelites like, no, we all Negro. Bro, that's not scientifically correct, man. Let me go through this chat, man. I was reading out my book. That's Blumenbach's modern race theory. Whitney Titus says categorizing humans by phenotype. Exactly. That's exactly where it's from. It had nothing to do with science. Had everything to do with a system of pseudonyms. You understand? Because he was like, Africa's the black land, America's the red land, Asia is the yellow man, and Europe is the white man. You understand? I forget what he called Malaysia. I think he called them brown. I can't remember. So he had a color-coded system, which is unscientific, because I can find those same expressions in Southeast Asia. I can find darker skin tones being variegated and expressed through people groups. And I can show lighter skin tones being variegated. I can show you that in ancient America, you had darker skin tones and lighter skin tones. So that don't make any sense. How are you going to just have this color chart and equate it to race? That's erroneous as hell. Israelites don't generally teach modern race theory. That's true. Which is why you'll hear many of them claim they're not black. Marty Van Dies shatter my conceptions of DNA. What you mean by that? Royal Prince, what's happening? I don't know what the hell this guy Stacy's talking about. He's just being a troll. Ancient Ainu of Japan, they are darker skinned. Door of El, join the call and show us that. And it wouldn't even matter. I'm pointing out the fact that they're not darker skinned today, and they have that same genetic marker, and they look completely different than the people they related to. Royal Prince has different mothers, perhaps, maybe. Okay, Stacy, that's just pseudo as hell. He said genotype can't even be tested without phenotype. What the hell are you talking about? You have to scale nutrients from soil like cocaine and mommies is detected. So are these nutrients? I don't understand what you're saying.
That boy in special ed, man.
That brother special ed, man. I told you he one of them kids that didn't understand math and said math sucks. I hate math. Well, why you hate math? I don't get it. And start kicking underneath his desk, you know, disrupting the damn class because he don't get it. Instead of asking for help. Whitney Titus says they would have been bred out very quick if they didn't inbreed. Yeah, that's true because there wasn't that many Europeans. And recent studies are saying that all Europeans come from like 3 males. You know what I'm saying? So they're very, very, very inbred. That's why they don't have the expressivity as Africans or other people groups do. Other people groups have more expressivity in their people because they are not bottlenecked. They didn't come from severe bottlenecks like the European did. You know what I'm saying? So you know how that saying goes: the southern white man is probably having sex with his sister and don't know it. That saying pretty much goes for the whole European race. And I'm not people, oh, he's being racist. No, I'm just reflecting on the data on that particular people group. So when they say King Tut had blue eyes and related to many Western Europeans, what are they saying? If he had blue eyes, that would make him automatically related to Western Europeans. I would have to look and see what his DNA was. Was it R1b? Because if his DNA, if his paternal haplogroup was R1b, then he would be related to Western Europeans. I'm not going to be disingenuous just because people don't like the outcome of it. I don't know, but if you can share that study with me, Marty Von Dice, just drop that study in the back chat and I will read it. Whitney Titus says, yep, and those expressions aren't rare either. They're actually very common. Dora L says the ancient Tibetan are extremely dark skinned as well before pale admixture. Okay, let's say that's true. Doesn't change the fact that they don't all look the same. Oh, Dora L, there we go. We got a brother. A brave soul has entered the goddamn danger room. What's cracking, man?
Oh, not much cracking, but if you go and put in the ancient and new people, you see that they were darker skinned, as well as the ancient Tibetan. They all had darker skin before the pale Aryans came in and admixed with them to make them of lighter complexion. So I'm saying their hair was still different. They didn't have the same hair type and that nature, but they were of a darker complexion. The ancient ones.
Man, is you Chris Harris? Is this your burner account?
No, this is not a burner account. No.
Who is this? Who am I talking to?
This is Dorvel.
Oh, you sound like Chris Harris, man. I thought you had a troll account, man. All right, man. I'm just making sure. I'm making sure. Hey, but even if be that as it may,
right,
it doesn't change the fact that these people have the same Y paternal haplogroup, meaning they descend from the same people, same fathers.
Right.
They all look different. That was my point.
Right. Oh no, I'm not just debating that part of the issue with you, but I want to bring up the fact that they were of a darker complexion than they are currently now. That's all. You know. I
mean, all humans were of a darker complexion first. I even stated that the white skin, it was even a mutation.
Well, I'm saying you the source, man. You the source. You're supposed to be on top of your info. So what I would want you to do is go back and just show the rest of the community that those people were of a darker skin complexion originally. Because even though you did show where the original Andaman Islanders ones were of a darker complexion, which because they had more of a African phenotype. That we claim is an African phenotype, but it's just a human phenotype, not an African phenotype.
Right, exactly. Yes. Yeah. But I say that because that's what they understand. That's the lingo and jargon they understand.
Right.
You know?
Right. But about the thing with the flood event, because James was saying before that the flood account would have happened 25 to 30,000 years ago. Like I said, so that throws the whole Noah's Ark thing, because they try to put that at 2,600 years ago, which, you know, like I said, that whole Bible timeline is screwed to inject the pale man European into the timeline which his genetics don't show up into the timeline until 3,500 years ago. So that's a, so that's.
I'm gonna be cautious on that, but I agree on the timeline discrepancy. I don't really think the flood happened 2,400 years ago, for the simple fact that you had cities in Mesopotamia at that time, and archaeology disputes that. I know people gonna be like, "Oh, you're a blasphemer. He's a damn blasphemer," but I'm just saying, man, the data don't really correlate well. So I think there's something that we're missing. I think there's a discrepancy there.
Well, they're missing the Sahara area when it was a lush garden. They don't want to count that the Sahara was populated before it dried up. So that's and it's just like you read with the evidence with the DNA paper. It's saying 15,000 years ago the Sahara was a lush garden area at that particular time, and they don't want to count that. So that's throwing off their whole timeline, because they, like I said, they want to insert themselves into the time period by saying 3,500 years ago. That puts them around the time of Noah and the flood. So being that the white skin genetics didn't show up till 3,500 BC, so you're inserting yourself in history like they always do.
Yeah, I don't think there's the exact date. You know what I mean? But people are still going to look at it as if I'm challenging the orthodox information, So they're going to be like, I'm blaspheming. I get told I'm the Hebrew atheist all the time. So it's nothing new to me.
It's like you said, what do the evidence tell you? The evidence tells you, so you go by the evidence. The scriptures is only half of the picture. You don't discount the other part of the picture. If I want to become a doctor, I can't just read the Bible and expect that to tell me everything I need to know about being a doctor. That's idiotic.
Right. But you know how the sheeple are, I will say.
Right.
we follow, when we follow a narrative as a people, we stick to that narrative. We try to move. We don't budge from it. And that's what me and James was talking about with LeBron them. Brothers don't budge from these narratives that have been proven wrong.
Right.
Numerous times.
I had given some ideas about the platform before. Maybe you guys should, have someone to critique people's, their PowerPoints before they even come on, because when these guys don't have their PowerPoints together, and it just drags the whole platform down, man. And so you should have those people to actually have a quality control where, you just forfeit. If you had the time to get it together, you didn't, you forfeit.
No, we already implemented that. If you talk about debates, we have a rule.
Right.
If you don't have a PowerPoint, it's automatic loss. And we doing you dirty. We're going to let you finish your debate. Then at the end, we're going to read the rule to you and say, brother, don't matter what the decision was, you didn't meet our criteria.
Yeah.
You understand? And that's why we're not getting a large influx of debaters, because people don't want that responsibility.
Right. That's true. Because, like I said, like I was watching the program yesterday, and, it was like, it was very interesting. You guys do some long, times, but it was quite interesting. I got a lot of information out of it. Oh man, I wish y'all could, like, the cussing, man. You kill a lot of the Hebrews who, because I'm an elder spokesman. I'm older than you guys, and the language, man. If y'all could just wrap that down a little bit more, man, because it just especially when I wanted my wife to listen sometimes or something, because you do go through some good information, and we just don't like to hear all that.
I apologize, elders. Just, man, they get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? You be asking them simple questions, they don't even want to answer them.
Yeah, I get it. But you guys is doing, like I said, I try to watch you, but like I said, when y'all get into a lot of that language, man, I had to turn off sometimes because it's you know, come on, we supposed to be better than that. You know, we got to strive better for that. You know,
you're right. I mean, it's a patience issue with me. I just I don't have too much patience for stupidity and just ignorance. You know, character flaw. You know what I'm saying? But I try to work on it. But sometimes, man, these brothers say stuff that's so outlandish. You know what I mean? Right. I just gotta snap on them real quick. It just be an impulse thing, you know. So I'm not making excuses for it. It happens on our channel. You also got to keep in mind that, you know, it's a panel full of grown men, so we can't control everybody.
Right.
And we go open the panel to anyone to come on, so it's kind of hard to police everybody.
Well, definitely during debates, we should dock points for that. Then, okay, because that's a part of your critique. Okay.
Yeah, that's easier during the debates to do,
right?
Because you know, is one person go, then the other person go. You know what I mean?
Right.
It ain't much talking over each other.
Right. But nah, some of them got a little spirited during the cross sections when you do your cross examinations, and they start getting a little heated and want to throw some colorful languages in sometimes. And especially when they lose, which is a shame. That really pulls it down when they bad sportsmen. You know, they don't take the L very well.
Mm-hmm.
That's. But yeah, I enjoy your platform. Like I said, especially when you're going over this, and please, you know, do the thing with you're talking about with the DNA. You said you was going to wrap that up and do a really good thing, man. Yeah, do that, because, you know, I'm somewhat familiar with how the DNA works, but, you know, I got to, you know, the basics things that you're going over right now is really cool too. You know, it's you know, I'm enjoying that. So that's really good.
Right. And I felt like this was a much needed show because a lot of people throw that DNA thing out there as if it's a automatic destroyer to our belief system and who we are and our identity. But I'm clearly demonstrate they don't understand the literature or how it works, the functionality behind it. You understand? Because we had LaRon on here the other day trying to tell us that 3 to 5% in a population is insignificant.
Right.
I mean, clearly displaying his ignorance of how DNA works, you know?
Right. Now, I had asked the question as well. Could you cover the, because I had in my JED match, I did the JED match with my DNA, and it said I had over 25% Shemitic Western DNA. Can you go over that any?
I will have to see what haplogroups or whatnot. So you have Western Eurasian DNA pretty much.
That's what that would mean. Western Shemitic.
That it said Shemitic.
Yeah, it says Western Shemitic on my my JED match DNA.
You the second brother that brought up that JED match stuff. I'm gonna have to try them because I did 2 DNA tests. I did Ancestry DNA and was it 23andMe? I think I did 23andMe so I can determine what my haplogroup was.
Right.
That's supposed to be coming in next month. The Ancestry DNA is autosomal, and that's coming in when the 25th.
Right.
From now. Yeah. But somebody else told me about JED match, and I seen some on YouTube where this brother they showed him that he was being Jewish on there. I was like, I didn't even know he did that on the DNA sites.
Oh yeah. That JED match is on point, man. Because what you could do as well is it'll tell you the nearest, closest relatives to you, and it should say Limba. They'll show you once you do the pie chart. You click on another button that's right under the pie chart, and it'll give you the breakdown to the nearest, closest relative to your haplogroup. and it's, you know, everybody's generally says Limba, you know, being 1% closest to you.
Yeah, because so if that 1%, if they're talking about genetic history, that means that
right,
they have some kind of ancient admixture with those people.
Right.
And you know, they try to sweep under the rug admixture, but admixture would mean, in order for you to admix with somebody, that would mean that you was in close proximity with those people. Meaning
Right.
you would be in those lands that we've been claiming we've been in. We've been in Levant. That's why the DNA that was presented by James was so powerful, because it shows if we admix with these people, that means we were in the Levant.
Right.
Because you don't admix through magic, brother.
That's right.
You admix through hybridization or sex or reproduction, if you will.
And it's going by the male. It's going by the male. So the male had to pass on the genetic information, not the woman. So, you know, so his whole argument is null and void right there, because it's the man that's passing it on, not the woman.
Right. Right. So yeah, we got the Y chromosome haplogroup E being there. We brought the article tonight. Being carried by the Natufians, the people who ushered in the Neolithic Revolution.
All the studies you're reading was based it was talking about the Y chromosome. It wasn't talking about the female chromosome. It was talking about the male chromosome. It's showing the ancient the ancient mixture.
Right, right. And guess what? Guess what was absent? Haplogroup J was absent amongst all Natufians.
Right. And I love what you said yesterday. Don't leave that out. J2 is Greek.
Right.
And J2 is J1's brother. Come on.
Let me pull it up. Yeah, that's J1's brother haplogroup. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I didn't get to put it on. Did I put it on the screen? Let me grab that real quick. I don't even remember if I brought it up or not. Look, man, we be doing.
No, you didn't bring it up tonight. You brought it up yesterday, but you didn't bring it up tonight.
Let me bring it back up, right?
But you need to keep hammering on that one, because you know that always resonated in my mind. J must be for Japhet. These things they'll give you a little bit of truth, but they'll give you the definition that's a lie.
Right. I'm on Upedia right now on the haplogroup J2, which is the brother of J1, right?
Right.
Which is what these Jews are claiming as a Jewish haplogroup.
Right.
So haplogroup J2 is thought to have appeared somewhere in the Middle East towards the end of the last glaciation between 22,000 years ago. The oldest known J2A samples at present were identified in the remains of Hotu Cave in northern Iran, dating 91,000 to 8,600 BCE. Let me get the meat and potatoes of this, man. Get to the meat and the potatoes. Early Neolithic farmers.
Yeah, if you just go to the tree, actually, that'll show you really is just go to the tree, because the tree shows you.
Yeah, you go to Phylogenes. Yeah. But it's got listed as Greeks. J2A, J2B, Eastern Mediterranean, India, Europe, Italy, East Mediterranean, phylogenetic haplogroup J. Let me see. Yesterday I had it pulled up where it had the Greeks and they said Phoenician.
Right, right.
Look, Anatolia, Georgia, Iran, Iraq, the Gulf states, the Caucasus, the Lebanese, Arabian Peninsula, Anatolia, Iberia. Right here, a major Bronze Age lineage expanded from the Caucasus to Greece.
Yep.
To the west in the Indus Valley to the east. Oh, here's another one. J2A1 M319 has been found chiefly in Greece and Italy at low frequencies around Western Europe. So how the hell are the Greeks? Because we know, according to the biblical narrative,
right,
the Greeks would have been Jawan.
Thank you.
Or Yawan, which means they would have descended from Japhet.
Right.
So how the hell is the Jewish paternal haplogroup going to be J1 if J2 is the Greek haplogroup? They don't make damn sense.
No, it don't.
Because where do Y chromosomes come from? Males, the father. So you can't have a Japhet paternal marker and claim to be Shem.
Right. There you go. Now we go back to Genesis 10, where it clearly says Ashkenaz is a son of Japheth. They don't disclaim being related to Ashkenaz. So I'm like, well, why are y'all guys so stuck on wanting them to be the people when they ain't?
Yeah, here goes some more. Here goes some more right here, because according to the biblical narrative, ancient Europe would have been inhabited, especially by the historian Joseph, the Japhites, right? So here we go right here. J2A 1F761 is the Western European subclade of F3133 found in Italy, France, and the Benelux in England. So that's all Europe, man.
Yeah.
That's why I was trying to tell Kevin. I'm like, bro, you understand these F lineages are European lineages, and if they're European lineages, including the Greeks, Jawan, then these will be Japhetic lineages, not Shemitic lineages. There's no way around it.
Now, what you gonna find out? Because I did my DNA a couple of years ago, and they've been updating it from time to time. What you gonna find out? Because I just had a recent update, because I did Ancestry and 23andMe. My Ancestry just did an update about a couple of months ago. I didn't have any Ashkenazi Jew in my DNA at that particular time. Now they done threw Ashkenazi Jew in my DNA haplogroup now. So now they got me down as an Ashkenazi Jew, which I said, oh, you don't want to give me the real Jew, but you're going to throw in some Ashkenazi on me.
Hey, check this out. It says Middle Eastern and European J2A from the Kira-Arxes to the Greeks and the Romans. It says very likely that J2A, J1, Z1, 828, L1B, and TIA, P77, and G2A, L293 were the dominant male lineages in the early Bronze Age Kiras-Arxes culture, so 34 to 2000 BCE, which expanded from the South Caucasus to Eastern Anatolia, Northern Mesopotamia, and Western Iran. And from then on, J2 men would have definitely represented a sizable portion of population of Bronze and Iron Age civilizations such as Hurrians, Assyrians, or the Hittites. It's very possible that Bronze technology spread to South Caucasus across the Iranian plateau until the Indus Valley, giving the rise of the Harappan civilization. Then check this out. The Minoan civilization, right, which would be Japhet. It says emerged from 2700 BCE and could have been found by colonists from the Kira-Arxes culture. So these are these people that carry this paternal haplogroup J2A, who would have brought bronze working with them. Modern Cretans have a high percentage of G2A, J1, J2A, and L plus T together. In Greece, and the highest percentage of J1 and 2A in all of Europe, for that matter. The three haplogroups association with the Kira-Arxes culture, although little data is available at present about deep clades in Crete and Aegean Greece. The parts of Italy that were colonized by Ionic and Doric Greeks, notably Sicily, Calabria, Basilicata, possess substantial percentages of typical Caucasian haplogroups such as G2A, J1, J2A, as well as considerable levels of Middle Eastern and Caucasian autosomal admixture by European standards. So how are you cutting these Minoan Greeks, the Doric Greeks out of the picture?
Wow. Yeah.
You can't say in one breath that Jawan is the island of Greece and the people of Greece in antiquity, and then say, okay, these same people with these same genetic markers are Jews. That don't make no damn sense, man.
No, it don't. That's why. Well, see, that's why you say you got to use reasoning skills when they telling you stuff too, because you got to be able to see that they're gonna give you some truth, but they're gonna throw some lie in there too. So you just got to know how to, sort through the material properly. That's all.
Look right here. It says, the Phoenician Jews, Greeks, and Romans all contributed to the presence of J2A in Iberia. Why are they saying Jews? Because they throwing them Ashkenazis in there with this J2A haplogroup.
Right.
But they related to Greeks and Romans. Wait a minute, the Greeks and Romans of antiquity was Japhet.
Thank you.
So they descend from the same father. So that would mean these people are Japhet, not Shem.
Well, see what they're probably doing is as well as throwing that Edomite, which is Shemitic. So it's the wrong brother though.
Right. And man, this is what I was trying to get this nigga Kevin on the other day, man. I'm like, bro, these are F lineages, man. They can't even be Shem. That would have to be Japhet. Unless you done made up your own goddamn narrative. I guess the Greeks are Shemites now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I guess your one was actually supposed to be Shem, and you know what I'm saying? The Catholic Church put that in there during the Council of Nicaea. See, they blame everything on the damn Council of Nicaea, so might as well blame it on it too. Get the hell out of here. All right, man. Let me check the comments. Let me see what everybody is. Come on, D-Red, be a part of the show. Where you at, brother? J. Key said they also added remove people listed in genealogy too. Different ancient translations prove this, which caused me to start digging further. D-Red said bring that back up. The Jew autosomal DNA said the same thing. No, that's a fact. When we brought up the autosomal DNA, it shows that they related to them people, man. These Greeks, Syrians, and all these other weird people that would directly be, according to the biblical narrative, Japhites, not Shemites. And you know what's funny about this, Door of El? The funny thing about this is, I'm like, why hasn't anybody busted these people across the head with this already?
Me too. Because you know what? I was reading. Do you ever listen to Philippe Matthews?
No, I'm not familiar.
Oh man, this brother, he's good. He got a YouTube channel, but he talks about how it was this one African brother in Nigeria. He actually did a study on how the sound wave, the tau sound wave that come from white people's mouths, has a effect on the black man's physical, his physical being. You know, it's a sound wave that affects us internally. and we go back to the scriptures. The scripture says, you know, Satan was we assume that he was a angel that was a part of the chorus. You know, in control of the chorus. So this sound wave that they speak really has a detrimental effect on our whole psyche. You know, it's like we become like hypnotized by it. And matter of fact, if you actually read the Moby Dick, the 42nd chapter, where it's talking about how white people and their whole characteristic, and how people of other colors just throw themselves at their feet. You know, how you actually have, if you have time, anybody out there, if you have time, read this 42nd chapter of Moby Dick, and it tells you exactly how, you know, white people are, and how people just cave, all people of color just cave into their demands, which is just fascinating and sad to me at the same time.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out. D-Red said non-Jewish Eastern Mediterranean is who the Ashkenazi is related to autosomally. Exactly. Exactly. We can see that through genetic distancing, and we brought that out. You know, D-Red provided the article. We read it the other day. Like, these people are more closely related to, like we said, these Doric Greeks and these ancient, you know, the Greeks of antiquity.
Right.
Which is a clear contradiction because, like we've been saying, that these are goddamn Japhites, not Shemites. Right. Excuse my language. Shemites. They not. I mean, they Japhites, not Shemites. Excuse my language, brother.
Well, they're gonna have some of that admixture from Esau, though. So they're gonna have some Shemitic, but it's like I said, they're not gonna have a broad band of it, but they're gonna have a remnant of them that have the Shemitic bloodline in them. But
yeah, we understand that, but their paternal lineage is a paternal lineage that is shared with the Greeks. So I gotta rule that as, you know, if you want to claim any people, you should be claiming Japheth.
That's true, but because of the mixture, you got it. Because you know they do have that Shemitic line in them. So I give them Esau. He's theirs anyways, you know. Because
Esau was in the mix, man. Esau definitely in the mix, bro. You know what I'm saying?
So they can have Esau, you know. But it's not going to save them, you know.
Right. I really want you know, these brothers to answer these questions. I'm like, how is you using F in lineages to say that they Jews now? Like, that don't make any sense. And I brought up the East Indians being of D, you know what I'm saying? And the Bible saying those are Elamites, and Elamites are Shemites. I mean, this is pretty much deductive reasoning.
Right.
Simple deductive reasoning. Okay, if Elam is Shem and the ancient East Indians are considered Elamites, then therefore their haplogroup will be related to Shem. I mean, it's that simple. This ain't really, well, I said the basics of DNA. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Great show, y'all. I'm about to lay it down, man. I just did another 13 hours. Like I said, this show was impromptu, brother. This was impromptu. I got home, so you know what? Let me talk about this. It was on my spirit. Wanted to bring some articles to the forefront. We are the source, so we're gonna bring source material. We're not gonna give y'all rhetoric like these other channels. You know what I'm saying? These other brothers, G-Con, Run Your Mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I got a question for you though, Genesis 49ers. When you gonna do some more of your other stuff, man? You ain't putting that out in a while, man.
A PowerPoint. I do owe y'all a PowerPoint, man. I might I was gonna do a debate with a brother. It never happened, so I might give you some PowerPoint slides from there. I think that need to be touched on and you know, make it real crisp and presentable for the people.
You know, you didn't let your chat, you know, you didn't start the debate league and you didn't let your other thing to just, you know, fall to the wayside. You know, you got brothers that's thirsty for that information that you be putting out there like that, man. You can't leave us hanging like that.
Nah, you're right. You know, but I put most of the energy into this platform and trying to, you know, get this off the ground. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I can definitely make that happen. I was actually thinking about that, and you know, speaking with D-Red and Brother James the other day about that. Should I take these slides that I prepared for debates and just make them presentations?
Please, yes, man. Because I'm hey, I'm the one who hit you up a while ago, and you said you had something coming out, and then you put something out. You know, I'm hey, brother, I'm thirsty, man.
Yeah. I feel you know what blows my mind, because I've worked so damn much that I'm able to produce the information and everything that I can. You know, thank you know, all praises to y'all, but it's brothers that don't be doing nothing all day, you know what I'm saying, that don't bring no content at all. I'm like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, you ain't doing anything all day and you ain't making 1,000 videos a week. You know what I'm saying? You know, they got channels. They got a following. I'm like, well, you know, and I ain't saying that to give myself an excuse, because I'm never going to do that. I just got to make more and get back on the grind. That's all. But I just look at the other brother sideways. Like, God dang, you ain't doing nothing. All right, but it is what it is, man.
Hey, like you said, if they scared of you, man, just put the information out because we need the information, man. That's what I do. The father had me writing. I send out emails. He be hitting me up with stuff all day long, man. It's like I was just showing my wife earlier today how, well, the father gave me a revelation that the word nigger is not even the correct pronunciation of what it should be. The people would have been called, the actual pronunciation would have been near, because the NGR in a series would make that G silent. So, so that G would not even register as a consonant. It'll be like a silent vowel. We got examples. Night, you don't hear the G in there. Nat, you don't hear the G in there. You know what I'm saying? So that G would be rendered silent. And then when you go to the Hebrew and you look up that word near, because what the father did show me, he showed me the guy who helped Jim Beam develop this whiskey. It was a black dude named Near. His name was Uncle Near. And I read that, and the father had me to start looking up some information about it. And come to find out, when you look up that word, it's a Hebrew word. It's spelled N-A-A-R. And that means redeemer. So that blew my mind.
Oh, I know what words. Yeah, I know what words to talk about in Hebrew. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that word should be pronounced near, not nigger. It's near. Okay. And he was just the word. And what does the word say? We're supposed to get near to him anyways. So that was confirmation that that's the proper rendering of that word, because it said you get closer to me, I get closer to you, you get near to me. Okay. Then you go with the word Negro, it's actually narrow. We want to be on the narrow path. And come to find out, when you do the research on the word narrow, because it's actually it's a Portuguese word, and it actually means business.
Wait, what word narrow?
The word Negro means business, which would be pronounced narrow. And it's a Sephardic word. What are the Sephardics famous for? The Sephardics are famous for business. Yeah. So this was originally a Sephardic word that the Sephardics used. So it was detailing. It was a word, and when you do the research, it tells you that the word was never originally meant color. It never had anything to do with color. It had to do with business. And what did they turn around and do? They call us Negroes and make money off of us by selling us in a slave trade. By calling us Negroes. Misapplying the term.
Yeah, man. I got slides on that Sephardic Jew stuff, man. Did one video on that. I got another slide. I got some more slides pertaining to that, man. And once I drop that, man, that's gonna make that's gonna turn some of these brothers upside down on their head, and they're gonna get pissed. You know, I mean, they're gonna get upset. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, more to come, man.
Wait, were you putting it out, man? I told you I'm ready, man.
Man, I don't want to give you the cliche answer and say soon. But, I mean, I just gotta go. I gotta go back over it. You know what I'm saying? I got 150 slides, so I got to figure out what angle I want to go, what actual slides I want to focus on, and
okay,
you know what I need to touch up on, and stuff of that nature.
Right. Well, like I said, man, hey, is it a way that I can hit you up? Because don't be hoarding all the information, man. I've been trying to share all the information I can with everybody, So I'm really, I'm really, because like I said, I came into the awakening about 3 years ago, and the father had me reading dang near 24 hours a day since 3 years ago. Man, I'd be up 3, 4 in the morning, reading 10, 12 hours a day, man, and researching, you know. So, you know, that's all he had me doing. I'm retired, so you know, I ain't got nothing else to do. So
okay, yeah, man. I can add you to our group on Facebook. We be on there daily. You know what I'm saying? We be on there daily. I can add you on there. Request to go to Source Debate League group on the group on Facebook. And if you just send me, put your Facebook name on the private chat here, and I can add you in myself.
Okay.
And yeah, you'll be plugged in. And of course, you know, we go live on here periodically. So shoot, we got plenty of ways you can reach us. But I will warn you, that group get kind of fiery sometimes. So, you know, brothers is in there. We got an atheist in that group. We got agnostics in that group. We got people of different perspectives in that group that don't see it our way. And you know what I'm saying, really kind of like a danger room sometimes. So
yeah. Well, see, that's the type of stuff I'm probably not interested in, because I'm trying to, you know, once you've been there, did it all, you know, and you just try to, you know, at this point in my life, I'm just trying to refine my rough edges now, you know. So yeah. You know, a lot of this stuff, like I said, I believe the Father, he gives us the information. We just have to sift through to get to the truth. Everybody is not telling a lie. So whatever that truth is they're saying, you can extract that out and use it. You know, that's what we're supposed to do anyways. So.
Right. Yeah, man. So I'm just happy that like what we seen in the chat, people is trying to make genetic models to explain the biblical fathers, because if we saying it's true, then we got to find some kind of tangibles to back up what we're saying. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I see stuff like that, I feel like my job was done. You know what I mean?
Right.
More rational thinking on the Hebrew side is what I've always been trying to push. You know, up in the scholarship, man. Right,
because all your videos, man, I didn't got all those resources, man. That's what I'm saying. Don't be holding on to the resources, man. I was looking at just now. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to get some of them DNA resources that you spitting out. But you know, like I say, man, hey, like I said, I got so many, and plus that book you just talked about that you spent a buck on, I just found it for free. Okay. So
man, don't tell me that, man. Don't tell me you got it for free, man.
I done told you, man. That's why I need to hook up with you, because I got so many, man. And then most of the stuff I could find and don't pay a dime for it. Father just let me be able to find it, man. So
hold on, brother. Let's make sure that languages and genes in northwestern China.
Yep. And yes, sir. I was just following it with you word by word. I just found it and downloaded it and everything.
Hold on, brother.
That's what I'm saying. I need to get with you on a personal, so we can. I got information that I can pass to you. That I got, you know, man. I'm serious. I got probably like 4,000 or 5,000 books in the past 3 years, man. Since the Father woke me up, I got about 2,000 or 3,000 on my phone, because I download most of them. PDF files and stuff like that. I even go to the library. I've copied the whole book of Derek Lang's whole book, bro, and I got it on a PDF. I go to the library and I copy the whole book, man. I get books like that. I copied that book. I actually put the other book on archive.org, the one with the what is it? The one by Godfrey or Godby, the one that he did, the Lost 12 Tribes. You can go to archive.org. I uploaded it there because I said this is a good resource.
Hold on real quick. Hey, Don't say no more, man. I don't want nobody. I don't want the alphabet community. You know what I'm saying? The FBI and all that. Nah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we live. You know what I'm saying? They might. You know how they are, man.
Yeah, I get you. Well, that's what I'm saying. I need to get with you on the level like that, so I could, like I said, I got so much resources, bro. It's like crazy. You know, like I said, a lot of these books, I'll get them from the library and I'll make copies of them, bro.
Yeah, that's good because when I'm doing research and I might come across a book and that book won't be available digitally and it'd be like out of print. I'm like, damn, there's nothing I can do.
Because right now, let me see. Right now, I got this other book from. Let me see. Let me run downstairs real quick. I got this other book that I haven't copied it yet, but I'm going to. And you can't get this book, man. This book, like, they want 100 bills for it and everything. It's Papers in African Prehistory by J.D. Fage. I'm about to make this one, because I had to loan it from the library, and I'm about to get that one. And that's a good one too. I got a lot of information in it.
Okay, yeah. We're gonna have to talk on that one, man. You the plug.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. You need to let me, get that personal information, because, man, I got Merlin's Secrets, the African Near East presence in ancient British Isles. I got How the Holy Writ Was Written by O.C. Edwards Jr. Oh, that's deep too.
Yeah, man. Oh, shoot. I'm gonna have a field day with it. Like I said, I've been running into roadblocks looking for certain books.
Well, I'll put my personal number in the private chat for you then, okay?
Yeah. I'm gonna lock you in.
All right. Dang, what's my phone number?
Yeah, don't say it live, brother. We got a lot of weirdos. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of trolls.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got it. I remember it now. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna lock you in right now. Give me a second, man. Yeah, I'm gonna close it out, brother. I gotta get some rest, brother.
All right, bro. We'll be in touch though, then, because like I said, I told you, man. I feel like, bro. You know how it is when you be putting it in, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
When he wake you up and he just have you on that diet of just reading 12, 14, 15 hours a day, man, and just researching.
Yeah, I got you locked in, brother.
All right, then.
All right, man. Good night. Shalom. Peace.
You too. Shalom, too, man. You have a good Shabbat, man.
You as well. Shabbat shalom, brothers.
Yep.
Subscribe to the channel, Source Debate League. We out.
Yeah.